Hey you, how are you feeling? Vegan Truth Seeker here. In this video I'm going to talk about domestic violence and sexual abuses, especially against women who are the main targets, and how you can put an end to it or at least minimize the risks of you and your loved ones of ever suffering that kind of abuse. Let's start with domestic violence. If a man disrespects a woman for the first time and she allows it, he will do it again. In rare occasions, it will happen only once. But if it happens more than one time, trust me, he will never stop and things will eventually escalate. Leave him. In fact, I don't consider those men real men, so let's call them trashy men. Also, before I continue, I want to say that because it's easier this way, in this video I'll be focusing on the abuse of women by trashy men. But for instance, gay women can also be victims of abuse by their female partners. So obviously everything I'm going to talk about can be applied to every case of domestic violence and sexual abuse, regardless of the gender of the people involved. Okay. If your trashy man hits you and you forgive him, and then he does it again, he will never stop. And if you remain with him, eventually he will hurt you really bad or even kill you. That's not love. He doesn't love you and you don't love him. You can't really like or love someone who hurts you. That's kind of similar to the Stockholm syndrome. That's obsessive, insane behavior. Make no mistake about it. There's nothing passionate or loving about disrespect and physical harm. Don't kid yourself. Get out of that negative relationship right now. Just leave. The moment your trashy man disrespects or hurts you, you must tell your family, friends and loved ones, confide in someone, write it down in a letter, in a diary, in an email, put it on social media or go to the authorities if it was a serious abuse. That way you have evidence later on if you need to go to court. Never suffer in silence, because that way you're protecting your abuser, covering up for him and helping him continue to abuse you. And then it's only your word against his. Again, leave him. If you have children, there's one more reason to leave him. Ask everyone you can think of to help you, including the authorities. If your trashy man threatens you, leave immediately and ask for help right away. He will never get better, no matter what he tells you or what you may think or wish. And remember, that's not love at all. It's not even close, and it's not a normal and healthy relationship, okay? Don't wait until it's too late. All the countless women who were murdered by their partners also thought things would get better, and look what happened. If your trashy man rapes you, then go to the authorities immediately. Don't even think twice, no matter how much it pains you. He must pay for what he did. You mustn't let him get away with it. And if a stranger rapes you, and I know this is awful to say, while he's raping you, try to get his genetic material, scratch him or bite him, so that the authorities have enough evidence to convict that monster. But in both cases, fight back with all your energy. Try to punch and kick him, scratch him, bite him, try to reach an object to hurt him really bad, or push him against something. Fight for your life. In any case, always report it to the authorities after it happens. Don't forget that if you say nothing, he'll do it again to you or someone else. So, regarding sexual abuses, in order to protect yourself and be safe, here are some precautions you should take. Learn martial arts. If you're worried about how it may affect your femininity, you can learn martial arts and still be feminine and attractive. Actually, I find women who can defend themselves very attractive. I really don't like helpless, defenseless women. If you can't afford it, check if there are free lessons of self-defense in your community. If you're a parent of girls, let them take lessons of martial arts as soon as possible. This way they'll be able to defend themselves. This is a real way. This is a real way to empower little girls, unlike teaching them and telling them idiotic things like many female celebrities and movements do, consciously or unconsciously. Always carry a pepper spray with you, and don't be afraid to use it. Keep a gun at home. Take shooting lessons and keep a gun at home at all times. If you have children, keep it in a protected place. If you're going out on a first date, tell someone you trust when and where the date will take place, and ask them to periodically check up on you by calling or texting you. Tell your date that you asked someone to check up on you every hour or so, and that if you don't call, excuse me, and that if you don't call back, they'll warn the authorities. If you agree to text back instead of calling, use a code word between text. You and the person who's checking up on you came up with, because your date can use your phone without you knowing or allowing it and pass as you. And by the way, never leave your phone unattended and always have it with you. And charge it before you go out so that if there's an emergency, it doesn't run out of battery. So if your date has good intentions, they won't mind. If they become upset, then that's a sign they're probably no good. Also, let someone you trust know in advance who's the person you're going out with. And if you have your date's contacts, Facebook page or something like that, let the person you trust have it, because in case something happens to you and you're unreachable, that way they can try to contact your date and ask for your whereabouts. When you go out on a first date, make sure it's in a public place and during daylight. Never leave your meal or drinks unattended. Someone can roofie you. And never accept drinks from a stranger. Also, when you ask for drinks, watch the bartender while they're pouring your drink, so that no one has the opportunity to spike it. If you suspect that someone added something to your drink or food, call the authorities immediately. If you ingest something and then start to feel bad, call the authorities or an ambulance immediately. When you go out, never drink too much or take drugs. It will impair your good judgment and leave you defenseless. Also, avoid going to nightclubs or something like that alone at night if you're a woman. Don't get me wrong, this has nothing to do with sexism, and I'm not saying that women are weaker than men, but unfortunately most victims in these cases are women. Never invite someone to your house before you get to know them well. Once you do, they'll know where you live and you're no longer safe. Also, never go to their house alone. You'll be vulnerable. And most of all, never go home with a guy who's taking his friends along with him. It's never a good sign. Before you engage in sexual activity with a man for the first time, make it very clear that if you say no to certain things, it's definitely a no, and that he must stop immediately or things will get ugly. Do not be afraid to push him away, because if he has good intentions, he'll be okay with your conditions. Never be a submissive woman. Real men hate submissive women. You can have a mind of your own and be extremely attractive, feminine, sweet and gentle. And actually submissive women aren't appealing at all. Also, real men like strong, independent women, which has nothing to do with a woman being a so-called bitch. That's just someone with very bad temper and a negative attitude. If you have children, teach them well. The boys to respect women and girls to demand respect. Never allow your partner to disrespect you, especially in front of your children. And if it does, teach them it's not an okay behavior. Also teach your children to reach out to everyone they know if they suffer any kind of abuse. But not every man are bad, obviously. There are plenty of good men out there, trust me. We're the majority. The bad ones are the minority. Maybe you just need to stop going for the so-called bad boys, the popular guys, the cool guys, celebrities, and the alleged alpha males. They'll most likely hurt you or disrespect you, but ultimately it's your call. It's your call. All I'm saying is try to make better choices. Don't waste time with those who disrespect you. Take your time getting to know someone before you commit to them. Be very clear about the relationship you want. Don't take any crap from any man. And most of all, there's nothing wrong in being single. You can still have a good time and be single. There's nothing wrong in not being in a relationship or not wanting to be in one. Never ever become dependent on any person, especially economically, because the moment you stop being economically independent, you lose your personal freedom. And finally, be aware of what you wear. And let me be very clear about this. No matter what a woman wears, no matter what she does or how provocative she is, no man has the right to do anything to a woman that she doesn't want, okay? That being said, if, for instance, a woman wears a tiny bikini at the beach that barely covers her genitals and nipples and shows her entire butt, or if she goes out wearing tiny shorts with her buttocks popping out, or wearing something that shows almost her entire breast, or wearing see-through clothes, then she can't expect or demand not to be sexually objectified by men. Again, a woman has every right to wear and do whatever she wants without being harassed, but in such cases she can't expect men not to sexually objectify her and have lustful thoughts and fantasies about her. In the examples I just mentioned, the first thing a heterosexual man thinks is that he would love to have sex with that woman. And don't fool yourselves. If a man says otherwise or that he doesn't, he's flat out lying. Obviously, most men control themselves and don't act on their impulses. But let's not be naive. Humans are animals like all the other species, and as such, we have basic instincts like all other animals. The difference is that the majority of us humans can easily control our instincts. Don't get me wrong, I love women and I love the female body, and I like seeing a woman wearing very few clothes, but I'm not a hypocrite. If I'm not aware, If I'm not aware, I will immediately sexually objectify her, but obviously I do nothing because that would be disrespectful. I can control how I react though. If I don't want to indulge myself in lustful thoughts, I just look away and pay no attention. I want to stress that a woman can still wear sexy clothes that aren't, let's put it this way, slutty clothes. Though she can wear a sexy bikini, for instance, that still covers her entire breasts, butt and genitals. If someone wants to get a full body tan, why not go to a nudist beach? Wearing slutty clothes or behaving in a slutty way, whatever that means to you, contrary to what those in the fashion and entertainment industry tell you, does not empower women or allow them to be sexually free. It only perpetuates the sexual objectification of women, and all of those who say otherwise are hypocrites, liars, or not very smart at all. Again, and I can't stress this enough, a woman can be extremely sexy and sensual without being slutty, and that's the truth. If we men see an attractive woman with slutty clothes, our first thought is, I want to have sex with her. But if we see an attractive woman with sexy, not slutty clothes and she's sensual, believe me, that's the woman we want to meet and get to know better. It's all about good taste and common sense. But ultimately, it's each woman's call. Just don't demand not to be sexually objectified if you wear slutty clothes. I want to be perfectly clear that I'm not advocating for women to wear a burqa or anything like that, or even clothes. I'm even against women wearing mere hijabs, which are symbols of oppression. However, However, I also don't advocate that women go to the other extreme and wear slutty clothes. Okay, if you follow these and other safety measures, take the proper precautions, are aware of your surroundings, and most of all refuse to take any crap from anyone, you'll be perfectly safe and you'll never be another number in the awful statistics of domestic violence and sexual abuses. Be safe. To finish, I just want to emphasize that you can be a strong, independent, successful, accomplished, intelligent, feminine, sexy, sensual, gentle, sweet woman and still find a good guy who isn't intimidated by you. Actually, we love women like that, at least I do. And also that you have every right to demand to be treated as a princess or a queen. And obviously this goes both ways. Okay, that's a wrap for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment my videos. Until next time, try to be happy and make others happy. So, bye.